Look, I don't like saying this one bit, but if you're a business owner, investor, or high-income professional with at least $500,000 in assets, chances are they will come looking for you at some point. And deep down, you know it too. It might not be tomorrow, next week, next month, or even next year, but if you have valuable assets in your possession like real estate, business interests, personal savings, investments, or intellectual property, greedy creditors will eventually find their way to you, trying to take it all away. How do I know that? Well, check out this stat. In the U.S. alone, there are over 40 million lawsuits filed every year. That's more than one new lawsuit every 2 seconds. And the number isn't going to magically go down anytime soon. And I don't say this lightly. I'm the CEO of the Lawyers Limited Law Firm, better known as the business guy on social media. For over 34 years, I've been helping high net worth business owners, investors, and professionals protect billions in assets from lawsuits. And what I've seen again and again is that no one is too small or too big to be targeted, which is one reason high net worth individuals are more exposed now than ever. With every dollar you make, with every new asset you add to your portfolio, the target on your back gets bigger and bigger. And creditors are secretly rubbing their hands, waiting for the right moment to strike. And this is the reality of countless successful individuals who have something important and valuable to lose. Because of that, they're living in constant stress, anxiety, and emotional turmoil, overthinking and overanalyzing every single step to make sure they don't make a wrong move. Life doesn't feel fun anymore. It's no longer about building, scaling, and celebrating wins. It's about avoiding losing in a world where each wrong move can be devastating. These people feel trapped under the weight of their own achievements and accomplishments. They feel suffocated and threatened by a looming danger that is yet to reveal itself. And so they're looking for a way out because they can't just keep living like this anymore. And maybe you feel the same way. And I wouldn't blame you for it. After all, one slip, one little innocent mistake, and everything you've built, your wealth, your assets, your security, could vanish in an instant, all because of a lawsuit that you never saw coming. And sooner or later, they will find a reason to sue you and take what's rightfully yours. So the only question is, will you be prepared when that happens? Will you be waiting inside of a fortified, impenetrable legal fortress where all of your assets are safe, secure, and out of their reach? Or will you stand by and watch them dig into your pockets and walk away with the spoils of your life's work? If you landed on this page and you're still here, watching this video right now, chances are you're not the kind of person who just sits on the sidelines, because you already proved that you have the grit and determination to put in the hard work so you can achieve your goals, build wealth, buy assets, and get where you are today. And you're also smart enough to understand that the real challenge isn't just making money, it's actually keeping it. And just like you wouldn't leave the front door of your house wide open for thieves to come into your house and take everything they please, perhaps you wouldn't want to leave your assets and your legacy exposed to predatory attorneys and creditors to feast upon either. And that's why you're probably here looking for a way to make your wealth legally untouchable. So you don't have to hope or pray for the best outcomes, so you don't have to rely on insurance policies or expensive lawyers who can't always protect you. You can simply choose to take matters into your own hands and put your assets in a place where judges can't reach or touch them. Like John, a California contractor, one of our clients, who faced a massive injury lawsuit targeting his trucks, properties, and even kids' college funds. Everything that he had was on the line. Everything was at risk. But because he had the right structure in place, a Cook Islands trust that we established, combined with equity stripping and LLCs, the creditors were left with nothing. In fact, we set up more of these trusts than anybody in the world. Or Lisa, a physician stuck in a 20-year divorce battle, who protected her practice and retirement funds via offshore layers where the judge couldn't reach them. Or Mark, who sold a SaaS firm for $42 million. And 1 year later, a former co-founder who had long been bought out came back with a lawsuit claiming he was owed 10%. Now, Mark lost in court, but the creditors walked away empty-handed. They got nothing from him, and that's because he set up a Cook Islands trust with an LLC inside of it before the sale. So not only did Mark protect what was rightfully his, but he also maintained full access to his funds through his bank accounts and debit cards. His lifestyle didn't miss a beat. And so in the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the same legal instruments that John, Lisa, Mark, and over 147,000 other high net worth entrepreneurs, investors, and professionals have sought with us to protect their wealth and keep their assets safe, even if some of them lost in court. And with these tools, you can shield your business interests, personal savings, real estate, investments, vehicles, and intellectual property from threats like lawsuits, divorces, malpractice claims, debts, and the whole spectrum. And this is for you even if you've never been sued before, even if you have insurance, even if you feel too small or too big to be targeted, and even if you're confident that you've done nothing wrong. Because what I've learned over 34 years of protecting assets is that the legal system doesn't always favor and side with the innocent. It favors the ones who are prepared, the ones who take the necessary precautions to prevent unexpected situations that could have devastating outcomes, the ones who buy an umbrella before the storm, not during one. And the instruments I'm about to share with you in just a moment are meant to do exactly that, prepare you for any eventuality so you don't have to live with worry, stress, and anxiety, thinking you could lose everything. I mean, can you imagine knowing that you're safe, knowing that all your life's work and wealth is out of their reach? Can you imagine working to grow your business, your investment portfolio, or your professional agenda while having the peace of mind that's what is yours stays yours? I mean, can you imagine looking at your kids and family, knowing that everything you work for, every drop of sweat you put in will eventually benefit them, regardless of who tries to take it all away? And you can have all of that, the wealth, the legacy, and the peace of mind all together. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. And before I get to how exactly you can make that happen, why should you even listen to me or take my advice? I'm the CEO of the largest asset protection firm in the United States, and my journey almost ended a little over 3 decades ago. Back in the early 1990s, I was a young entrepreneur building a small business from scratch, pouring in sweat and every dollar that I had. And even though it was really hard work, the excitement and the ambition just kept me going. I wanted to create something, and I wanted to fulfill my purpose as much as I could and build a legacy, something that would not only support myself and my family, but also support generations to come. And I couldn't wait to see it all unfold. But then it happened. One of the most devastating experiences that I had ever lived up to that point. One that I never expected and that I never thought I would overcome. A small apartment building I owned and a shady building contractor led me to a lawsuit that nearly cost me everything: my home, my savings, my future, and above all, my mental sanity. I was lost and it felt unfair. I was just a small business owner who wanted to bring more value into the world, help more people through the product of my own hard work. And this ambition and good intentions almost ended me. Needless to say, that lawsuit was a wake-up call. I learned that no matter how small you think you are, no matter how good your intentions, and no matter how much value you want to bring into the world, you can always be a target. You can always be just one little step away from losing it all. It was a powerful realization, and it's what led me toward asset protection law, studying every single strategy that could have saved me. But back then, asset protection was seen just for the ultra wealthy and hadn't yet gone mainstream. But I knew that it was all about fairness, protecting hardworking folks from accidents, disgruntled employees, greedy ex-spouses, or unforeseen attacks. So in 1991, I founded the company that eventually became Lawyers Limited and later acquired a firm with a legacy dating back to 1906. We added Asset Protection Planners as a brand, focusing on arming everyday achievers with legal armor. And fast forward to today, after a track record of over 34 years in the asset protection niche, we've helped, I believe, over 147,000 entrepreneurs, investors, and high net worth professionals keep what is rightfully theirs. We've protected billions in assets worldwide, and we've also been endorsed by people like Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. Here's what he said.
Hey, Mr. Wonderful here. What happens when you make money? Well, unfortunately, sometimes people sue you so they can get some of it. May sound unfair, but it happens every day. So I'm doing a shout out for a very important business. It's Asset Protection Planners. That was started in 1906, a long time ago. So that gives you some idea of how long it's been around and how important a service like this has been through the decades. They have lawyers on staff. They help you protect your assets. That's the whole idea. Now, if you don't know how to do that and you've been successful in business, maybe you should think about this as a form of insurance that's very important to protect your wealth long term. Check them out. Give them a call. Take care, my friends, and always be thinking ahead.
Now, in a moment, I'm going to walk you through the exact system and the exact legal instruments that millionaires, billionaires, and other high net worth individuals are using to protect their wealth, and which, by the way, are available to anyone. But before I get into that, I want to make something clear. This may not be for you if you're not concerned about being sued out of nowhere while your assets are exposed and ready to be taken by drooling creditors. If you don't want to build a lawsuit-proof legacy that will be safely passed down to your family and heirs after you're no longer here. And if you're not afraid of going through difficult lawsuits and you're 100% confident that your attorney is going to win every single case you face, then what I'm going to share right now will probably not benefit you. But if you want to avoid all the stress and the worry and the drama, you truly want to keep your hard-earned assets safe, secure, and out of their reach, then here's how it works. Okay, first, let's see what most people do in an attempt to protect their wealth. There are a few categories here. In the first category, we have people who get insurance and then sleep like babies at night thinking they're fully protected. But this isn't usually the case. Take Mike, for example, a restaurant owner in California. His business was thriving until one consumer claimed food poisoning and sued for $2 million. All this happened before he started working with us, and Mike thought insurance had it covered, but it didn't. This policy had exclusions, and policies often do, and his assets were left exposed. The second category of people put their valuable possessions into an LLC, sometimes even one LLC per asset to avoid cross liability. And this might seem like a solid strategy, and it's definitely part of an effective asset protection plan, but it doesn't offer complete protection on its own. Why? Because judges can pierce the corporate veil, and they often do, and expose your wealth, which isn't really fun. In this third category, people find a domestic asset protection trust, or DAPT, and they place all of their valuable assets into that trust, and they feel completely untouchable. But here's the kicker. Domestic asset protection trusts are not enough either. In fact, 40% of the time, these domestic trusts get penetrated and as a consequence leave you exposed. Just ask Dr. Dahl, a California resident who set up a Nevada trust. His wife filed for divorce in California because California law applied. They live there. She managed to revoke the trust, exposing the assets. Okay, business guy, so if none of those are enough to keep judges away, if none of those strategies work on their own, then what does work? Well, it's actually pretty simple. All you have to do is to put your assets where judges can't touch them. In a place where U.S. law or Australian or British law or Canadian law or wherever you're from is not recognized. More specifically, an offshore asset protection trust like the Cook Islands or Belize. I call this the millionaire's legal armor because successful entrepreneurs, investors, high-income doctors, physicians, contractors, and yes, even billionaires use them routinely for securing their fortunes. You could call it state-of-the-art asset protection, and even some offshore trusts have drawbacks. Without extra structuring, they might limit your ability to access your possessions. So let's say that you want to have access to your assets whenever you feel like it. not just lock them up in a virtual bulletproof safe? Well, that's where the trigger trust comes in. It's the perfect marriage between an offshore trust, which will protect your assets from lawsuits, divorce, malpractice claims, debts, etc., and a domestic trust, which gives you the day-to-day flexibility of using those assets. When you're not in a lawsuit, you manage your bank accounts, debit cards, crypto freely, but once a lawsuit hits, the trigger is pulled and the offshore trustee steps in, removes you as manager, and takes over, leaving you protected. So that's our flagship trademark product, perfected over the last 30 years, and it's what we use with virtually tens of thousands of clients to make their assets nearly untouchable. In fact, we've never had a single client lose money with a properly structured trigger trust. And on top of that, setting up this structure helps deter lawsuits. So why is that? Because if you don't have assets tied to your name, lawyers are far less likely to take your case. So you'll not only protect your wealth and your assets, but also your mental and emotional well-being by not being involved in unnecessary gut-wrenching lawsuits that keep you stressed, anxious, and fearful every minute of the day. No one who's fair and well-intentioned should ever go through anything like that. And that's exactly why we're here, to help you stay away from lawsuits as much as possible, so you can focus on building wealth, spending time with your family, and creating a lawsuit-proof legacy for yourself and your heirs. And just in case worse comes to worst and the greedy creditor sues you, you'll have the peace of mind knowing that your life's work is safe, protected, and yours to keep. More than 147,000 high-achieving entrepreneurs, investors, and professionals have contacted us to leverage offshore protection and trigger trusts. And when they do, they go from having their wealth exposed and being one lawsuit away from potentially losing it, to building a legal fortress around their assets where local courts can't reach them. And from having a big target on their back because of their possessions, to becoming not invisible, but protected and structured enough to keep predatory lawyers and unneeded lawsuits away. And yes, it's 100% legal, ethical, and compliant with the IRS, because I get this question all the time. If this strategy is so powerful, how is it even legal? And how come it's not suggested by more attorneys? It's pretty simple, actually. If structured properly and at the right time, which is before you get into any lawsuits especially, even though there are things you can do if you're currently in a lawsuit, then it doesn't break the law in any way. I mean, after all, it's your money, so it's as legal as locking your front door before leaving the house. And why don't all attorneys recommend it? And that's a fair question. And the answer is rather anecdotal. I mean, think about it. How come not all doctors perform brain surgery? Or why aren't all soldiers part of special forces? It's not that brain surgeries or special forces aren't effective or necessary. It's that not everyone is willing or qualified enough to do them. And the same applies here. We've specialized in offshore asset protection because we've been doing this for more than 3 decades. It's all we do. Help people just like you protect their hard-earned wealth through legal and proven mechanisms. Now, another myth I hear quite often is that by using offshore layers, you're somehow committing tax evasion. You're doing something shady and dodging the IRS. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. Offshore asset protection is completely legal and IRS compliant. I mean, if it wasn't, I'd probably be sitting in a cold, dark room with no windows and bars for a door instead of telling you about it. And also, if it wasn't legal or IRS compliant, then my team and I wouldn't have served over 147,000 clients who inquired about our services. And we've done this over the last 3 decades. And major corporations like Apple wouldn't hold billions of dollars there. But what if I'm too small, business guy? Well, what if my business isn't that big? Or my real estate portfolio isn't that impressive? Do I still need this? Well, back in the 1990s, I felt small too. My business seemed invisible to greedy creditors, and I thought that I was out of everyone's radar. And then an unexpected lawsuit woke me up to reality. At the end of the day, it's your choice whether you want to keep what you've worked so hard for and avoid the mental and emotional turmoil of a lawsuit. But if there's one thing that I've learned over the past 34 years, it's that nobody is safe. And if you're, quote, small, the consequences of not taking proper precautions and not putting strong legal armor around your assets can be much more devastating than for a huge business that can weather a multi-million-dollar payout. So if you want to avoid the nightmare of unexpected lawsuits and have peace of mind knowing that your legacy is safe and protected from predatory lawyers and creditors who are drooling at the sign of exposed assets, all you have to do is tap the button below and book a free 30-minute one-on-one consultation. You can talk with one of my highly trained team members, and on this call, you're going to identify what are the potential dangers and entry points to your wealth that lawyers and creditors can take advantage of. Next, discover the exact structure that will keep your assets secure and your mind free of worry and stress. And then learn how to securely pass down your legacy to your children and heirs so your hard work and dedication can support generations to come. Plus, you'll be able to ask any questions you have about your particular situation, anything you're confused about or anything that keeps you awake at night. Now, this isn't like other calls where you join, we time our clock only to pitch you on something at the end without giving you any help. We're here to help you. And if you're a right fit, we're going to show you the exact process that we can use to get you from being exposed and vulnerable in court to having your assets protected and fortified, just like we've done for tens of thousands of high achievers. Because here's an unfortunate truth. If you have wealth, you're a magnet for lawsuits. No matter how careful, genuine, or fair you are, hungry lawyers will find a way to get into your pockets. And they don't care how much you had to work for it, how much blood and sweat you put into building everything that you have today. And they don't care about your family or your life. All they want is your money. So at this point, you really only have two options. You can either do nothing and risk waking up one morning with a lawsuit that could leave you with no wealth and no assets to your name, or you can take action now. It's free and secure everything you've built until today that no one can touch and take away from you so easily. So the choice is yours and only yours to make. So if you have $500,000 or more to protect and you're serious and not just curious, click below and let's talk. But if you've watched 18 minutes or so of this video and made it to this point, chances are you already know what the right option is for you at this very moment. So all you need to do is press the button below this video to book your free, no obligations consultation call, and we'll help you safeguard your fortune. There's no risk on your side. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. I'm not asking you to say yes. I'm only asking you to say maybe, because you already proved you're an action taker and a high achiever by getting to this point in your life. You've scaled a thriving business, or you've grown a significant investment portfolio, or you've built a successful professional practice. If you wouldn't be an action taker or high achiever, a hardworking individual, you probably wouldn't have gotten here in the first place. And guess what? That's exactly who they're hunting. High achievers who put all their blood, sweat, and tears year after year into building something worthwhile, but don't yet have their assets properly secured and protected. So why put all of your life's work, all of your achievements on a silver platter for greedy attorneys and creditors to feast on? It's not them who sweated over it day by day for years. It's not them who work late at night, early in the morning consistently. And it's not them who sacrificed family time and made compromises to create something worthwhile in their life. So why should they be allowed to take it? They shouldn't. And if you want to make sure that you keep what is rightfully yours, what you dedicated your entire life towards, then book a consultation call right now and let's help you build a legal fortress around your assets. One single decision that separates you from true legal safety. And you didn't get here by hesitating. You got here by doing exactly what you knew you had to do. So why stop now? See you on the call, and let's keep your life's work safe and secure.